Hi there. In this video I'm going to upgrade the sound system in my A4 B8 from 2010. First of all, sorry for the lighting situation in here. It's quite sunny outside, but yeah, it is what it is for the moment. When upgrading the sound system, don't think about anything in here. You will not touch this. In the A4 B8 we have a unit similar to this in the trunk of the car, so that is the place where we will do most of the work. First of all, you really need these things to get the unit out. Let me just quickly demonstrate that. You could fabricate your own. They look somewhat like this. I did fabricate my own at a point in time when I was in really a tight spot, to say it like that, and I needed them, didn't have time to wait for them to arrive, but I bought them for new projects. As you can see, this thing latches in place and you need to push this in to unlatch it. So these tools come quite handy. They are valid also for these holes right here, if you have a CD changer, obviously. Yeah, my lens is quite dirty on the camera, but it's so fine specks of dirt that I'm unable to clean it more than this. And also they are quite handy for these trims right here. So these things, I don't know, cost $1, $2, $3, almost nothing. It's good to have them around. So yeah, without more blabbing around, I found a really good post online from somebody that was actually explaining the sound trims in our A4 B8. So there are three variants. I have the cheapest one. In the cheapest one we have one speaker in here, which is a kind of full range, to say it like that. One tweeter in there, nothing here. One tweeter on the other side, one speaker there, and in the back one speaker there and one tweeter there. Obviously the same on the other side. So 8 speakers in total. And the unit that I now have in the trunk, I will show you the code for it when I take it out, has no digital sound processing. So the unit itself is quite weak. Even if you change the speakers, you will not see any increase in quality, maybe just a tiny one, but it's not worth it. The middle of the road, to say it like that, is Audi sound system, which is about this one here. You have digital sound processing, and next to the speakers that we already have for the basic sound system, you add one center speaker there, a mid-range one. Those are tweeters, they remain in place. A mid-range one there, and in the back right there we will add a subwoofer. And obviously this box needs to be changed. This one that I bought for $175 actually has digital sound processing, and it's able to output to that subwoofer and the central speaker that we will add. But this unit has a code on it, so I need to take it after I install it. I need to go to Audi dealership to remove the protection code. You can find these things online even without the code, but they are more expensive. I made some calculations and it's cheaper for me to buy one with a code and go to Audi. So yeah, there is someone, if you search on forums, that you need to buy a cable, connect it to your car's computer, then he will remotely access your laptop, and he can remove the code for about $75 or something like that. Everybody contacts him on Skype. Yeah, I'm going to the dealership because I want to upgrade the other softwares in my car also, so yeah. And I'm going to go to the middle of the road, like I said before, just adding central speaker, subwoofer in the back, and upgrading this unit in the trunk. And the best one is the Bang & Olufsen system, which adds tweeters right here. Those become mid-ranges, so you need to change them. You need to change the cabling harness in your car, so you need to open up a lot of your car to do that. In the back, next to the subwoofer, on the where is my finger? There, one center one, and on the other side you will also have some tweeters, mid-ranges. So it's a quite different setup, and you don't only have something similar to this, but you also have an added amplifier in the trunk. So again, you need to change the wiring harness for that. Is way more complicated, and a lot of people say that the difference is quite small between Audi sound system and Bang & Olufsen, but it's huge between the basic one that I have and this one. So yeah, that thing, the speaker in the middle, cost me about $15, 175, so I'm going to do the upgrade. The subwoofer, I think it was about $15, but it's not an OEM. I'm putting in a Harman Kardon subwoofer, dual coil. It's a bit more powerful. I think for about $250, maybe maximum $300, I will have way better sound in my car. So yeah, I think that's about it. Let me just put on some music so you can hear how these things a bit weird, dirty my car is, how this thing sounds now, and in my opinion it's quite bad. I'm also going to show you my sound settings. So this is the treble. It's at max to have any sort of treble in this thing, and yeah, I went out. And the bass is about here, but it's a really bad bass. It's really boomy. I think it's above 100 hertz. So yeah, it's not a deep bass. It's quite annoying. This is the best setting that I found, but still really bad. Yeah, so that is the sound quality at the moment. In my opinion, this is quite weak. Before having this car, I had a Skoda Octavia 2 facelift from 2010 with the high-end sound system that they can provide for that car. It was head and shoulders above this thing. It was miles better, and a similar setup. 4 full range, to say it like that, speakers, and 4 tweeters like we have in my Audi now, but this is crap compared to that. So it's clearly not only the speakers, because they are about the same size, and I've looked at them, they are about the same build, the same shape. This thing is doing a lot of the sound quality. So yeah, that's about it. Let's go and upgrade the one in my trunk with this one. Okay, so in the A4 B8 limousine version, this is where we have the sound system. It's tucked right in there, pretty good. So yeah, let's get it out. Okay, at this point we need to undo 3 screws. One is here, one is a bit there in the back, and one on the other side. And let's remove this. It's not needed for what we are doing now. So let's get to it. If you need just a bit more room, you can remove the cover from this thing just by pulling on it. Don't remove that, it doesn't help at all. And we are ready to go. These were really loose, almost could take them out with my hand. These are in, so this is unlatched, and it should be moving around, as you can see. So let's get it out now. To remove the connectors, these are the antenna setting. You have this right here. Oh, it's white on white. You need to push on it while it's in, and then wiggle this around and it will come out. For this one you have this, which again you need to push on it and it will come out from there. And this one, the big one, it has a flap down there. You squeeze on the flap and then pull it out and it releases. And that's about it for the connectors. Quick comparison between the two units. This is the crappy one that I had in 53. This is the good one that I'm putting in now. There are a lot of variants. I think for G0 is also good, but I will link some forums in the description so you can search more on this topic. But for my car, these two are quite close together. This should be a good one, although it's a bit older than the other one, but hopefully we will have no problems. The rest of them, it's the same, only internal differences. So let's put the new one in. Ta-da! And the new stereo is in, everything connected. Hopefully all is good. Let's get to the dealership. Like an idiot, I did all of that work without removing the contact. I have no idea if something got damaged in the process or not. Let me try and play something. We actually have sound from the new. But it seems I only have sound on the right side. But I have no new options for subwoofer, volume settings. Hopefully something is just not making contact. Okay. So I only have right side, left side is not working at all. Yeah, let's investigate this. Yeah, I think it has something to do with the protection. I only have sound from the right, and on the radio it cuts in and out, in and out, in and out. So the protection, I was expecting it to give me some code in here, but I think the protection exists, but it just doesn't give you a code. I will do a scan of the car with my BCDS and see if I get any errors on that protection. Yep, as expected, we have component protection active. So this is why we don't hear the sound as it should. So next, to the dealership. Okay, so upgraded the radio, and in my opinion there is already a huge improvement. I will make a cut in the video and have you listen to the old one and the new one at the same levels. But I just want to try and show you what the old one was doing and what the new one is doing. So the old one, let's say this is the base, 50 Hz, 100 Hz. The old one had something like a cut in here, so underneath it didn't have anything. Then it started reproducing sound, and then at high frequencies it was dropping quite rapidly. So below that you had nothing. It was just a punchy, annoying bass. I had to turn it down, so I couldn't crank it all the way up. Now with the new one, I don't know, I think we have something like this. So it's raising way faster. We really do have the deep bass on it, and the high frequencies are way better represented. And I didn't even upgrade the speakers. I still have the standard cheapest speakers that come with the A4. So I think the old one was nerfed intentionally. Even in the highs and the lows, you just didn't have these areas. It just didn't give them to you. So when somebody was buying an A4, they could sell you, look at the more expensive system, look how good it sounds. And in reality they just add a center speaker in front and a subwoofer in the back, and the radio is almost identical. A new code, yes, it has digital processing, but from the manufacturing point of view the radios are probably almost identical in price, but they ask more, I don't know, a few $100 for the better one. which is actually better because they nerfed the cheap one. So yeah, all manufacturers do this kind of crap. The idea is that you can even upgrade the radio in your trunk and not add the other speakers, and you already have deeper bass and have better highs. But there is a problem. When you try to crank up the volume, if you don't put a subwoofer in the trunk, it's not able to, your standard speakers in the doors are not able to go too high. So you will have something like this. The other frequencies they can reproduce quite well, but the bass will be still a bit lacking when you crank up the volume a lot. If you don't listen to a high level, something like this, it's quite well balanced. So for me at the moment, I genuinely feel that this stereo is good as it is, and I could even not put the subwoofer and the center speaker, but I already bought them, so I am going to put them in, because I don't listen to a high level in my car. I just want nice sounding music at standard level. And I can say for sure that at this point my radio and sound in the car is about at the same level as in my Octavia, and I already told you it was way worse before. So yeah, hopefully you did understand what I tried to explain here, and let's make a sound test quite quickly with the same melodies and same settings. And I will even crank up the bass so you can see that this thing actually outputs deep bass. Okay, let's go for the same song. Let me just show you the settings. They are the same. Treble right here. Oh no, sorry, that's not treble. Treble maxed, and bass right there as it was before.
Trying hard to see the light that shows him where to go so he can do what's right. She says there's something in the air that's taking hold of me. Oh, the stars are gonna shine much brighter way than fear. No more darker days, throw your cares away. 'Cause we are wild hearts, not gonna stop us from feeling the love in the air, light in the dark, giving us strength to carry on. We'll stick together all the way, we'll be alright.
And the other song. Yeah, we have really good separation between the highs from one side from the other. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's way better than it was before with upgrading just the radio, not the speakers. So at this point, because the original speakers cannot handle this thing, if you don't want to add a subwoofer, you can actually upgrade the speakers in your doors, and you will have a quite nice line even in here. But if you add the speakers, your speaker in the doors are not needed to have this reproduced, so you can lower the bass in them and go like this, and all of this side will be handled by the subwoofer. But I'm telling you, just because you might even get away if you don't want to take apart your car and install the subwoofer and whatnot. So let me go to the first song and crank up the bass and set the mids to where I want them now after I upgraded the radio. And I'm going to give it maximum bass. Again, we have no subwoofer at this point, it's just the speaker doors. Yeah, so that is really good in my opinion. If you are not listening really loud, you can get away with maxing out the bass on the speakers and you have deep bass in your car. But I'm going to put in a subwoofer and have the bass probably somewhere around here, so I don't crank it up too much on the speakers. Treble most likely will stay right about here. So yeah, and as you can see, I now have a subwoofer option, which is set to minimum because it's not installed. I can set it to focus on the driver, the sound, but I set it to all because I do have passengers in the car most of the time. So yeah, really nice upgrade, and for sure the original radio is just nerfed intentionally to sound quite bad, because this has really deep bass and the other one just had some annoying punchy bass. So yeah, let's continue with this and install the dash subwoofer in the center and the speaker, the subwoofer in the back. Okay, started the install process. As you can see, I have this cover already removed, and you also need to remove the cover on the pillars, and I will have a separate video in the description below this video on how to remove this thing, because that is a process in itself, and if you are removing it for the first time, it's quite difficult. The second, the third time it gets easier because the clips already have been undone a few times. So yeah, we will have a subwoofer there quite soon. And I will also make a video upgrading the little light in there with a light strip somewhere in the trunk, obviously. So yeah, let's go to the dash part of this thing. Yeah, we need to remove this top part. As you can see, we can start from this corner, but it seems from forums I found that this is notoriously hard to remove, and most people break the clips. Hopefully I'm not going to break them, but that remains to be seen. I am going to use inappropriate tools. Do not use metal on plastic trim in your car. There are kits with tools like this for working on cars quite cheaply on eBay. Yeah, I was stupid, I didn't order one. I thought this will come out easy. It doesn't. So yeah, hopefully I'm not going to scratch anything, but metal, plastic, yeah, we'll see. Okay, learn from my mistakes. Do not start with the clip in the center here. As you can see, I've cracked the grill. Luckily, I'm 99% sure that when I will put it back, it will close up and you cannot see it because it already has so many holes. These clips around here are way easier to pop out. As you can see, I can actually do it with my hand. Why nobody on forums said you should start from this side, I don't know. And why they also said you break all the clips, I don't know. This side comes out pretty easily, this one does not. So maybe leave that one for the end, I don't know. But anyway, start with this side, please. Yeah. The clips on the far side are a pain once again. And as you can see, 4 of them actually broke. I already got one out from this hole. Whatever you do, do not leave them in because they will rattle. And I'm actually going to show you a trick on how to attach clips back and actually have them working as intended. So yeah, and that crack, you cannot see it, so I was lucky. But I will strengthen it underneath so it doesn't rattle in time or something like that. But yeah, this thing is out with a few missing clips that we will fix. And they are all out, and let me just show you how hard they are to remove. I managed to break a broken clip in 2 to get it out from that hole right over there. And I know why this is happening. As you can see, these holes and all of them in the back have this counter clip right here, which actually makes sure this remains locked in place. Front ones do not have it, so I don't know, maybe with a specialized tool you can actually get them out somehow, but without tools you will break probably most of them. If you can afford to have a top part ready, buy one. Don't care about this one, just break it off and put the new one in. If not, you might need to glue a few clips or glue this in when you put it back. That depends on you. Forgot to show you the code for this damaged plastic part. It's right there. In case you decide to go the buy a new one route, which if this is cheap enough, I think it's a good idea. Just so you don't lose any more time trying to fix the one where the clips will break. I bought some wire for the central front speaker. That is what I'm using first. I'm putting in first. It's 1mm thick wire. That's pretty good. Of course, it's the multi-strand type, not only one, so it bends really easily. Yeah, this is not speaker wire, sue me. I've never seen real difference between speaker wire and standard wires in day-to-day life. Yeah, audiophile might say speaker wires have, I don't know what properties better than this. Honestly, in my case, I don't care. And this is double insulated, so lower chances of something cutting this thing inside the car where I will route it, because I have no idea where the original cable is routed, so I will make my own path inside the car. As for the connector, I do not know the original connector code for this thing. I've searched on forums, somebody put a code there, I bought it, looks nothing like this thing, so I don't have a code for it, but these things from front panels from PCs actually plug in perfectly into this. So yeah, it's not all the way plugged in now, but it goes all the way, and it's does it? Yeah, it does go all the way. Not even now it's all the way, so I need to push it a bit stronger, and you can see it doesn't want to come out. So this is perfect. I'm gonna connect this to this. I'm going to leave this at the end of it, because this is quite a small connector and it's hard to solder thick wires to it, so it doesn't make sense. I'm going to use its wires. They are short enough so it doesn't lose power or voltage or whatever on them. Yeah, let's continue. A lot of blabbing, let's do it. This not being a standard speaker, as you can see, we don't have any polarity marked on it anywhere. So that could create a problem where some of the speakers are out of phase with the others. That degrades sound quite a lot, because the speakers are basically working against each other and cancelling each other out. So I've plugged in this thing with the writing in, towards us. So I'm going to use one of these batteries. It's a 9 volt, but it doesn't punch too much of a blow because it only has a few milliamps. So this cannot damage a speaker if you only hold it for a second. And we will see, this is the positive right here. We will see to connect it and make sure the coil forces the membrane to go up. So when it's in the correct polarity, the membrane moves up towards us. So that will be quite simple to see if we got the polarity right or not. Let's try and connect it the right way with red to positive. Maybe, yeah, the movement it's quite small. I think this battery is quite drained, sadly, it's old. But I'm going to look at it again a bit closer and see if I have enough movement to realize the correct polarity or I need a better battery. Okay, we have a AAA battery that is brand new. I didn't have another 9 volt. And look closely at the membrane. Yep, it's going down. And we have the positive right here. And it was on the red wire. So we need to change this the other way around in. So let's do that. Moved the connector and now look at the membrane. It's going up when I put the positive to the positive. So red wire is positive from now on, brown wire is positive, and this will be blue negative. Let's solder everything back together. And if you are wondering how I will remember this thing, well, I will put a plus on the magnet on this side and minus on the other side, and I always know I have red wire on the left, blue wire on the right, if I ever disconnect this ever again. If you ever have problems soldering and you don't understand why your wires are not soldered well, it just doesn't look right, something bad is happening, yeah, the tip of this thing needs to be replaced, but I know this is really good and does the job. Yeah, think about the solder you are using. Just look at this. This is the one I was using before and couldn't do anything. This is the one that I'm using now. So if you have this one that is not shiny at all, it's quite it's a really dark gray, big chances are it's crap and will just make things more annoying and way more difficult, and you cannot get a good solder joint. So get some, I don't know, better stuff, whatever. Sorry, just wanted to add that because it was really annoying not understanding why I cannot solder. So let's continue. Okay, finally. This is double insulated, individually each wire with this thing, and on top of them this thing. So the chances of this shorting with something in the car are extremely small. But then again, this wire is quite thick and heavy, so I'm not counting only on the connector holding this in place. I will hold this in place myself with some zip ties. So let's put this in. Ta-da! I'm in the routing of cables part of the project. Yes, it sucks. It seems you need to turn down a lot of the car, and you actually do need to do that. You might want to try and route it from the middle on the other side and all around, and then in the back of the car return under the seat to the left, because you need to be on the left side. But I decided to keep it on the right side just because I like to know how stuff works, and I kind of wanted to see how everything takes part. So yeah, this area I need it open because it's directly under the speaker, but then I have no connection to anything. But if I take out the cluster, I have a place here to put my hand, and there are already some cables in there, so it's the right way. And then I will go down behind everything, show up somewhere around there, and then go back through here next to the original wiring loom. This might not be quite 100% necessary, but yeah, anyway, I will show you everything exactly how you take it out when I will start to put them back in, because I had no idea how to take them out, so I couldn't show you because I didn't know, but now I know, and I will tell you if you want to go this route. And honestly, it's not that complicated. It's quite simple, but it does seem a bit much, but again, it's quite simple. So let me route the cable and then explain to you everything that I did. This is the solution that I adopted at the moment. And this will tuck in right here, no chance of it hitting the membrane because the wire is not long enough, so no worries there. Because I didn't find a good place to anchor the wire close to the speaker, so better anchor it directly on the speaker. If I ever need to remove it, I just cut it. And let me just show you the code for this thing in case anybody needs it. So let's put this in. Hopefully I have enough room. If not, I will change it. Well, that obviously didn't work. There is barely enough room in there for the speaker itself. So I'm going to attempt to tuck some wire right under the speaker, at least this amount, in case I ever need to take it out. But I'm not sure if I can do it. We will see. I will tell you. Now we obviously need some screws to hold the speaker in place. This is what I found. They are from a Dacia Logan. Oh well, will do. And yeah, I couldn't tuck any wire under the speaker, so I don't know, leave myself some wire when I held it in place with zip ties. I don't know. Finally, it's in place. Everything is okay. The wire is right here with a zip tie right in there to the display cables, and it goes all the way through the back, zip tied right here to the cluster cables. And I realized I cannot leave any slack wire in there. I'm opening myself to rattling problems, so I left just enough so I can remove the connection from the speaker if I ever need to work on it. So yeah. Now I'm going to just try and route it a bit up until there. Let's see how that goes. Finally making good progress again through the back, and I'm all the way in here where again I attached myself to some existing cabling. I'm trying to keep the correct route of the cables. Although it doesn't really matter, but maybe they have something underneath the cables that doesn't rattle, although they maybe use this so they don't rattle. I don't know. Yeah, so let's start putting things back together. Display back in place. It only has 4 screws. Let me show you the type of screws. These are the screws, and the cluster itself has 1 there and 2 in the corners. And they are of, no, should be shorter. Yep, this shorter one. That is done. This is done. And when you are opening up your car like this, there's a really nice opportunity of fixing stuff that's already broken. For example, as you can see, I'm missing right here a rubber grommet. That it's here, that it's actually holding the end of the silver trim in place. And look what I have here. This thing was fallen down somewhere around here. So, ta-da! We will just pop it back in place, and now our trim should stay nicely in. And I was also even thinking of gluing it or something, because I had no idea that this was the problem, but now I do, and I fixed it. We got to this trim right here. This thing simply pops in place. It has a few of these things all around, and one of those the things that go into that rubber grommet. And yeah, that's about it. Quite easy to put back. It's the reverse of taking it out. Normally when you take it out, you start from this end right here and you pry it out from the lower part and then force it out from the top. But now I will just start to pop it back in place, and it should be all good. Just make sure you get things into where they need to be, because if not, you are in a whole new world of pain. And we are good to go. That's simple. Of course, when you first take it out, it's not that simple. Always it's not that simple. The left rim, it's another matter of just popping it back in place. It also has one of these and a lot of clips around the air vent. I don't think I can do this with one hand because it doesn't have a pretty stable position, so be back. This thing again pops in place, 2 clips on each side and 2 at the top. When you pull it out, you simply start to pry it from the bottom and it will come out on one side, then you pry it from the bottom on the other. If you have this already out, it's way easier to pry it out. For this thing, you start from this corner and start and pulling on it all the way, and it will undo all the clips around here, this thing. As you can see, it's much better. It was really opened up in here before I put this grommet back in. So let me put this thing. That is back in place. Just wanted to add, if you ever need to take this thing out or this thing out, you will need tools like this. They clip in there and then let you pull it out. Now it was not actually clipped, or this one is not clipping in place. I think this one only locks in place. Yeah, as you can see, it's already unlocked and coming out. I'm not going to insist. I took it out, couldn't find anything usable for my wire management inside here, so yeah. Obviously the second I stop filming and try to take this tool out, it takes the whole thing out. So yeah, let me maybe show you this tool. This is what it looked like. I think it was $1 for both of them, something like that. Really useful for Audis and maybe other Volkswagen Group cars. Made some progress. My wire is tucked behind the original loom. This thing again just pops in place, and when you first take it out, you need to take the rubber and put something underneath it, and then put your fingers and just start pulling and pushing a bit like that. And all the way, be careful about this, don't rip it out. I did not take this part out, and I managed to get my wire under everything up until here, because I put my hand under this thing and caught it. So yeah, a bit tricky, but it works. Now I'm going to push it alongside this. I don't want to open this up, and I've already opened up the other side. Similar to this, you just start pulling on it and it unclips. This is also in place. One screw right here, one here and one on the other side, and it clips on the top on both sides. And now we can put this thing hopefully back in, which again has a few clips all around. When you start working, you can put a screwdriver or something here and try to pop it out and then pull it. So yeah, all done on this side through the back. A bit more progress, as you can see, next to the original loom. This I got it out just by pulling on the edge of it. This you get out just by pulling, and you can see my wire going inside the trunk there. So I'm going to start putting everything back together now. And the whole side right here, again, it has a few clips on it, and it just clips in place. Yeah, finally the wire is here. As you can see, exactly where it would have come from the factory. Stripped the ends of it, getting ready to plug it in here, because these four are the existing speakers, and in this black area we need to add somewhere 2 pins for the center dash and 2 pins for the subwoofer. I need to search online for schematics, and I didn't have the proper pins, so I bought this thing for $3 I think, and I went crazy on its ass because I wasn't able to extract the pins, or I tried everything. I know how they are locked in place by this and this, they just did not want to come out. So yeah, I need to extract 2 more out of this thing, and then I don't know, keep it for future use, and then work out the polarities, and yeah, go from there. Yeah, it's quite impossible to find a clear pinout for this thing. I know where to put the wires, but I don't know the polarity of them. I did a bit of online research on forums, on whatnot. I know that we have on pin 9 and 13 the subwoofer, so 9 and 13, and 10 and 14 center speaker, but we do not know the polarity for those things. As you can see here, it's not specified. What I do know that for the front speakers we have on pin 1 positive, that one, and pin 5 negative, so I'm hoping that they kept this with the positive on the left, so our pin 9 is a positive actually, but I'm guessing, and there's no real way to check this. I tried to measure to ground to see if the negative goes to ground. It actually doesn't, it's floating, so yeah, I hope we have the positive on the left, and I will go with it. So first, before adding pins, you need to remove this pink piece of plastic, which on the previous model was quite easy to remove, but on this one is a pain, and all that I could find was to put a knife right under it and pull it out. Yeah, thank you Audi for making everything hard to do. Let me just show you the part from the old plug that I disassembled. Look at it. It was made to come out if you need to. So yeah, thank you for making everything difficult, Audi. Ta-da! Subwoofer wires, theoretically positive, negative. Right below them, center speaker wires, positive, negative. And hopefully this is the correct pinout, because if it's not, I've got no clue. Yeah, we have there a little bit of the original wire. I just cut it, and it makes sense. This looks like a positive wire to me, and this looks like a negative wire, and all the negatives are darker, the positives are yellow, red, whatnot. So I think on the second plug they use the same colors or same arrangement as the other one, so hopefully I'm good. I was getting ready to see how I can test if the center speaker is actually working, if it's powered on, and I was thinking, okay, a funnel or something to listen just to it, or something like that, because you cannot obviously directly really hear it. But let me just set this camera down next to it and crank up the volume just a tiny bit, actually maybe a tiny bit more. She tells him there is something he should know. Oh, the stars are gonna shine much brighter way. As you can see, that speaker is working perfectly, and it seems it's actually outputting a tiny bit of bass also. So yeah, I was actually wondering why it has quite a sturdy membrane and quite a big magnet for its size. Well, it does output a tiny bit of bass, so yeah, that one is working. Next, fix the cover and put it on, and then continue with the sub. Because I couldn't tell if this thing was actually making usable sound, I disconnected all the other speakers, the brown part of the connector. So at the moment this is the only one This is at maximum volume. So it is doing something, but honestly at really low volume it's barely audible to me. So I don't know. If I were to do this again, I wouldn't bother connecting this center speaker, honestly. Or maybe it needs some music that actually has dedicated channel for it. Yeah, for me it is working, but the sound it produces compared to what I needed to do to have it there. Yeah, anyway, let's continue with the sub. It seems Rain decided to tell me to go F myself, so I'm undercover here, but I've lost a lot of light because of this, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. The holes that are already drilled don't line up with the subwoofer that I'm using. This is from a Range Rover Sport, I don't know exactly what. It's a Harman Kardon. It has two ohm coils. I will wire them in series, so it will see 4 ohm load, which is exactly what it should be. And yeah, do the wiring, whatever. This is 10 inch. The original would be 8 inch, so it will be a bit tricky to put this in. I just need to cut a template so I can drill the holes, and yeah, let's continue. I will drill from underside because from top it's quite hard. So let's get to it. Still raining, and I made a really nice gasket on this thing. Normally these are sold to use in your window or door. They are quite rubbery, and they should seal quite okay when I tighten everything up. Okay, it's another day of working on this. I didn't manage to finish it that night, and now I'm fixing this particular error, but this will be a separate video. You get this error because you changed the radio in your car, and it obviously has another software. And my Audi dealer didn't solve this. They just ignored it. And I want to add something. All the activations that you made on your car, for me it was like stuff like showing battery level, adding F1 pedals, cornering, whatnot. All of those that I made are gone because they basically reset all the coding of the car to factory settings. So absolutely everything that I ever changed is gone. I'm not sure if this is standard procedure or they just didn't know what to click, where to click, but it might be something because of the connection to the Audi mothership that automatically went back to factory settings. So yeah, I'm going to have fun for maybe a few hours to see everything that I changed. Yeah, it even probably stopped my heated mirrors because those were coded by me also. So yeah, thank you Audi, thank you every car manufacturer in the world for making car modding harder and harder and harder every single day. Morons. So yeah, I'm going to fix this, then remake all the coding, and then continue with the rest of the work on the subwoofer install. The weather is really bad once again, so I worked a little bit in-house on this thing. First glued them all in place, but obviously this is not enough to hold them, they can break once again. So on the back of each and every single one of them I cut a little bit of cloth, and with the tip of the super glue dispenser, whatever you want to call it, I would just push on the cloth and squeeze it a little bit so super glue comes out, and basically this is cloth glued to the plastic, and it's like some kind of fiberglass. It's really strong. So at this point, my little baby girl helping me, just to make sure they will not break again. I want to file down every single one of them, not completely, but a lot of it, so I can remove this if I need to without breaking them again, because for sure there is no need for so many clips and such big clips. And it's prepared. The clips are way smaller now. They should still clip, but should be easier to remove. I've also done this and fixed the crack, so yeah. And these ones on the side next to us, I don't need to modify because those were easy to remove from the beginning. So yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that it all goes well, and I really do think it's better to do this with both hands. So be back after this is clipped in place, or maybe I can set you aside right here somewhere. Let's see if I can. Yeah, that was a drop. Let's see. Hopefully it all works out nicely. Yeah, they go in quite easy, I must say. We might have an issue right here around. Is there an issue? Something seems fishy. But what is fishy? Might need to get it out. Something doesn't seem to align. So be back in a moment. Got it out without any clips breaking, so that is clearly working. I know what was not aligned. This thing right here and this thing right here, they have two holes. Stay there please. One goes in here and one goes in here, so I need to be careful when starting to put everything back together to get those in. So yeah, let me try take two. Not sure how it will work, but yeah. Okay, this one I think I should have made sure this is on the correct direction from the get-go. My bad. Yeah, it's good now, it's in. Okay, clips going in. And we are done. That's about it. So it worked. My clips are now made to be opened up if it's necessary, but they still did clip in place perfectly. Job well done. Back inside because it's still raining out. Just wanted to show you, first time I thought about adding the subwoofer, I bought these things. I didn't want to go the OEM route because they seemed too expensive at that moment, so I wanted to do something like this, one in here and one in here. Yeah, they are some VW OEM parts, but when I ordered them I thought this is gray. When I received them I realized this is black, so they looked not only weird but extremely weird. Some would actually use them, but I decided not to go this route in the end. This is the amp that I wanted to use just to add some bass to the original system. Then I realized that that one didn't even have mids and highs, so again I changed the whole radio. So this for the moment is useless, but I'm not selling it, I'm keeping it just in case I want to add even a bit more bass than the radio can do at the moment, because I have a feeling that it's not strong enough to drive the subwoofer that I put in the car. So I'm keeping this. Maybe I will put it in. It's quite easy now after all those modifications. I have all the cables, everything that I need. I just need to find a place for it and connect it. Anyway, those are gone for the moment. Not using anything. Coming back to this thing, we have the OEM parts. Let's see how they are. I think wrong side, wrong way around. Yep, that's way better. If you are thinking about the ISO fixes, I also edit them myself. I have a separate video. If you need it, ask for it. And yeah, let me show you the codes for these parts. One of them is this one right here for the black version, and the other one, yeah, I kind of tore this apart right there for the second one. So it's 406 for one of them, 405 for the other, and they are quite okay. I'm not going to bother and drill and cut holes for all of these clips, because as you can see they are a metric ton of clips. It would take way too much time. It would be quite hard to cut the holes perfect for them. So I'm just going to snip the clips at about this level, so lower than this ridge right here, and I will just put glue on this ridge and on the internal one all around, and then set it in place and leave it until tomorrow morning to dry. Same thing for this. Cut the clips, put glue on external and internal edges, set it down here. You do not need to cut any holes in this part. This doesn't have holes, you can see. This one does have holes, and I am going to cut about here. And on the other side, let me just show you. I think we actually have this that we need to cut a tiny bit, and we should have some marks inside. For these things that I edit, we had marks already, so I'm thinking we will also have for that. But I'm going to cut a small portion until I find the marks, and then cut it all the way around. Okay, cut this, I don't know, it's some kind of felt. It's sound insulation. So cut it. As you can see, we have the marks all around. I will cut on the marks, and we are all good to go. I don't need to cut this because these are for the original one, so I can cut straight. It's easier a bit. And then so this doesn't flap in the breeze, I will put some silicone underneath it all around, squish it down, and it will stay there forever. So yeah, let's do this. Okay, made a little cut with a cutter right in here in the middle, then started with this. It's metal scissors, cuts through this like butter, a bit hard butter, but still cuts it. So I will start to go on the edge of this thing, but not on video because I need both hands for this. Ta-da! Yeah, I know the hole is ugly AF, but I don't care at all because you cannot see it, which is perfect. So let's start breaking off clips without damaging the front. So I need to break them, but carefully. Let's get to that. We are prepared to glue this thing. Cut all the clips. Be very careful, these clips will jump all over the place when you cut them. This plastic is really brittle. This one needed to be grinded down on this edge. And I just realized that this material, POM, is extremely difficult to glue in place. Somebody on the forum said that they glued it with silicone. I'm kind of doubtful it actually worked, and probably in 1 or 2 months that these things came off, or at least the corners lifted or something like that. So just to be sure that I'm not going to have that issue, as you can see, I drilled a ton of holes all over the place, and I will fill them with silicone, and then also go from them to the edge and have a line of silicone all over the place, also connecting these holes. Even on this side we have tiny holes. These are 2 mm, the other are 4 mm. So basically silicone will glue to this thing for sure, will not glue to the plastic, but will mechanically hold the plastic down through the holes. So yeah, we are good. This will work. It's a bit more complicated and it took a lot of time. The ideal thing is to find one of these with all the holes in place. With this, it's way easier. Or to find a glue that glues to POM. I couldn't find one so fast in my country, no chance of that. So yeah, we work with what we got. And you are wondering, why do I need so much glue? Because this thing is just in place. Well, it's not, because you can see here it's not perfect. It wasn't molded perfectly, maybe during shipping or something like that. It also bent a little bit, so I need to hold the corners down. This one is even worse. So yeah, it's not going to be that nice, but we will do it. We always manage to do it in the end. Metric ton of silicone. Yeah, it's white. Yeah, it should have been transparent. I wasn't careful, but I was very careful not to put behind the last edge, so in this area, so everything should squish inside, being white. But anyway, any color it would have been, if it comes out, you have a problem. So hopefully all good, and yeah, it will glue, I hope. First one is in position and looking perfect. There is still time to fail on the second one, because you always fail at the end when you've done most of the work. But let's hope that we will see the second one exactly like this, in perfect shape. And it's done. And I think I'm really lucky, because there is no white glue anywhere to be seen. Now I just hope this thing dries up in time and actually is able to hold these things down. We will see that tomorrow. The subwoofer part of the install is also finished. As you can see, all the wires are zip tied in place. I don't want any rattling. Zip tied to the old wires. The connector is right here, hidden beneath this, that will not allow it to rattle. So yeah, here we have some double-sided tape again for preventing any rattles. Wires safely plugged in, everything is just the way it should be. So now all that remains is to put the top back together. I have also added a LED light strip underneath in the trunk, so that will be a separate video. This is the wire going through here, because the lighting situation in this trunk is awful from the factory. And yeah, let's give this a quick test, and then we will put the tray in, and that should conclude the video. But the OEM radio, from what I'm seeing up until now, cannot drive this particular subwoofer to the max. This is a 10-inch dual 2-ohm Harman Kardon from a Logic 7 system in a Range Rover Sport, and it's unable to take it to the max. So yeah, let's give it a bell, and I might add an amp. I have an amp, we'll see. Let's give this thing a quick test. It might get a little bit loud, probably it will clip a little bit, so I'm not going to go too much from the start. Okay, probably the mic clipped like crazy, but as you could see from the movement, this thing can move way more than that. Don't get me wrong, for me at least this is almost enough. I don't really see too many situations where I would want more bass than we got now, but it's a bit annoying that when you crank the volume right up until about 3/4, something like that, the volume of the bass increases with the rest of the system. After you get to that, the bass stops and only the mids and highs go upper. So this amp, the radio, the new one that we put in, cannot really handle too much bass. Sadly, it is how it is. I might add the amp that I think I showed you before. Yeah, I did show you before, but that is for another time. For the moment, at listening levels up to about 3/4, this is quite awesome, and you really do have really deep bass, so I like it a lot. Getting ready to put this back in place, but as you can see, this thing is quite broken right there, because the edge of this tray catches in it instead of pushing it down. So I'm going to put a bit of this tape on top of it so it cannot catch in that breaks and slide over. Ta-da! It's finally done. And everything went together perfectly. And it seems the glue is actually holding, which is awesome. So, yeah, let's continue with the previously filmed part. Okay guys, we are in the Octavia now, because I just wanted to test how this sounds compared to the Audi. This thing sounds about the same but gets louder. But you also have more chances of adjusting the sound. You have the bass, you have the middle, you have the treble. I set up the bass just because this thing does not have a subwoofer and we do in the Audi, so I wanted to compare apples to apples. So I cranked up the bass to the maximum that this thing can do it, and it gets louder, and it is quite well sounding at the loudest. So Audi, I don't know, talk to the guys that designed the swing audio system in the Octavia 2 facelift, because they are a lot better than the guys that designed the Audi sound system. And this thing does it with that plus a tweeter. In all 4 doors it's a speaker plus a tweeter, so 8 speakers are better than the 10 speakers or how many we have in the Audi now, and that thing has a subwoofer, and yeah, still not as loud as this. And this again offers way more adjusting possibilities, so a lot of work, but at least the sound quality, we are at this level, and at low volume we do have a better bass in the Audi, but at high volume this thing cramps it. And it's time to end this video, and honestly I have a bad taste in my mouth, just because a car that costs less than half of this Audi when it was new has a way better sound system, even if you do your best to take this to factory Audi sound system level. Oh, sorry, it's not bad. So the upgrade is 100% worth it if you have the lowest one to begin with, but it should sound better than this from factory. This is not enough. If those guys in the Octavia could do it for way cheaper and with less speakers, you have zero reason to not be able to do it in this car. And honestly, I think the limiting factor is the power of the radio, the amplifier itself, because it starts nicely, it goes to I don't know, half of the volume or something like that maybe, and then it starts to fall apart. At 2/3 it's the limit where it's useful, and beyond that you lost bass, you lost, it's like it just does not have enough power. So yeah, I'm going to do a bit more testing, obviously, because this is the state of my car now, this with central speaker, with subwoofer, with whatever. Maybe when I have the battery a bit better charged after a long trip or something like that, I will not have that drop off in bass. I don't know, guys. I know it's a huge, really long video. We are tons better than where we started, but it seems that not even this, at least for me, is not what it should be. And again, it's sad. Let me try and give you a listen now compared to what it was at the start, and I will just cut and maybe you can see a difference.
That can keep you up at night. And David's rise, he is reaching towards the sky, trying hard to see the light that shows him where to go so he can do what's right. She says there's something in the air that's taking hold of me. Yeah, she tells him there is something he should know. Oh, the stars are gonna shine much brighter way than fear. No more darker days. Throw your cares away. 'Cause we are wild hearts. Not gonna stop us from feeling the love in the air, light in the dark, giving us strength to carry on. We'll stick together all the way. We'll be alright.
Again, with the new radio that we changed in the back, we have way better definition. We have all the frequencies, they are there, but we lack the power. It's that simple. And you need to have a powerful system even if you do not listen to it at high level. I don't know who's used to listening to music. You can feel when a system it's just lacking power. It cannot push it. Yeah, that's my opinion. That's what I'm feeling. It's lacking power, and you can feel that even at a bit lower volumes. You don't have to max out the system to feel that it's able to handle what you throw at it. So yeah, do this upgrade in my opinion. Mounting the subwoofer, not 100% necessary. Mounting the central speaker, not 100% necessary. Just upgrading the radio, you should see you should hear a way better sound. If you add center subwoofer, you just go up a little bit, but in my opinion you should also add an amp for the subwoofer, and that is what I'm going to do. And maybe then with the radio only handling mids and highs, and the sub in the back with its separate amp doing all the bass, maybe then this thing can go to a higher volume and still sound as good as that Octavia right there sounds with factory speakers and factory sound system. Again, really sad Audi that this is your best, yeah, because there is the Bang & Olufsen which is above the Audi sound system, but many say that that one isn't also great, and they started upgrading speakers and whatnot. Yeah, so we did it. Is it worth it? The radio upgrade for sure, adding central and subwoofer so and so. If you add an amp to the subwoofer, then should be great. So thank you very much guys for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this hugely long video. Yeah, I didn't intend to do it this way, just was a lot of work, and it ended up being like this because it wasn't a simple swap and everything working. So yeah, again, thank you very much. Give the video a like if it helps you, maybe subscribe to my channel, and as always, yeah, see you in the next one. Bye. Just wanted to add something at the end of the video. A friend drove the Octavia about 2 years ago, and he gave me his A-Class from 2016. I have a video for that A-Class on my my channel, and at the end of it, I heard that the music wasn't great in that thing, so I tried to set everything up. It was sounded decent, not great. But at the end of that swap, he asked me what upgrades I did to the sound system in the Octavia that it sounds so great. Now I understand why he was asking me that. His sound system was at the level of this Audi, and that is what it should be. Once you have in your Volkswagen Audi group a car with such good sound quality, how you can fail in another car that is more expensive, beyond me. Yeah, just needed to get this out there. I don't know if anybody or somebody agrees with me, but this is what I feel. When you are onto something really good, stick to it and try to copy it in your other cars. Yeah, I will make a video comparing this Audi to the Octavia, because there are lots of other things they got wrong in this car, things they got right in this car, but things they also got wrong, lots of them. Yeah, I'm done. Okay, no more ranting at this moment. Thank you again for watching. Bye.